Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Talkin Kop. It is Gav, it is Chris. It's a transfer window live show. We're doing this before our 10 o'clock show, which is Football Room 101. So if you're watching now, make sure you tune in at 10, where you can get in the chat and tell us stuff regarding football, whether it's present day, the past, even something into the future that you want put in the bin, football related. We did do it as a member show last night. It was fucking brilliant. There was plenty of football stuff, but it ended up in absolute madness about TV shows and the funniest moments in them. And it was brilliant. And that'll be the same. Dylan is actually joining me at 10 o'clock to do that show, so that should be good. Chris, we try to do these transfer shows when something pops up, and it's not kind of, dismissed out of hand, and certain people say stuff about it. And we don't pretend, like I say at the start of all of these shows, we don't pretend to know any information whatsoever on what's going on with these. But the name has popped up. The name that's popped up is Khvicha Kvaratskhelia of Napoli, Georgian international. The rumoured fee is £80 million. That's dropped from about 120 when he went a couple, maybe 18 months ago, or maybe even 6 months ago, when he's been linked to different teams. The word out there is that PSG are the team looking for this guy. Now, I do know that the Napoli owner is notoriously hard to deal with. That comes across in a lot of the transfers that's going on. This hasn't been dismissed out of hand by the people that usually dismiss it out of hand. That's the probably reason why we're here and we're talking about it. And I'm going to say straight away, Chris, honestly, if this fella signs for Liverpool, Jesus Christ, I just think he's an unbelievable footballer. To watch and to enjoy watching someone playing football. If you haven't seen this fella play, go and watch him. But it hasn't been dismissed, Chris. That's the big thing here. And we're 48 hours into it around now. We're around 48 hours into it.
Yeah, normally by now it's been dismissed out of hand. I mean, I think the echo, like Paul Gosser said, he's not aware of any contact yet, but he knows they're interested in him, which is, again, a different tack from the echo, because normally just saying no. Slot's answer was very much 99. If there's 100 of these sort of stories in January, 99 of them aren't true. So he's not dismissing it out of hand. Whether you like Ornstein or not, generally for these sort of things, they normally get more than one source. So as much as people who don't like the ownership say this is just a PR stunt, I think people need to go and Google what PR is, because PR isn't keep saying you're going to sign players and don't sign them, because it just pisses people off and that doesn't actually help you. I wonder if they've got wind of this PSG interest. I mean, the noise is coming out of PSG from what you've seen on social media. Some French reports is PSG don't want to go anywhere near above 50 million. But Napoli,
it's not happening for that.
It's not happening for that. And Rory Smith, who was listening to the Anfield Rap, basically said the owner of Napoli is notoriously difficult to deal with.
Isn't that his name?
Yeah, they basically said if he says the price is 80 million, the price is 80 million. It's where you try and find value and try and haggle. I think I get the impression Napoli are one of those clubs. If you want the player, you pay the fee, and that's it. Otherwise, don't waste your time, especially in January. So we'll see. Look, he's an exciting player. I mean, I would be devastated if we signed him, because I can't say his fucking name. I was going to have to call him Kev.
No, it's not a hard name to say if you just read it. It's actually not a hard name to say. It's a bit like when Szoboszlai came, people were like, SZOB, how do I say that? Like, it's Kvaratskhelia. That's it.
Yeah. It's probably one of those names, if you go playing, you say it often enough.
Yeah, it's like Marmadashvili.
Yeah.
Marmadashvili, people just couldn't get used to for a couple of days. But
it would be very Liverpool, though, wouldn't it? What do we need? Well, we need probably a defender. We should midfield. What are we going to buy? Dead exciting left winger.
You see, that's the thing that a lot of people are throwing out there. Like, and they're pointing back towards the time we signed Luis Diaz, when it looked like Spurs were interested in him. We went and signed Cody Gakpo when it looked like Manchester United were interested in him. We went back for Virgil van Dijk into January, but we knew Man City were heavily interested in him, and we went and done that in January. And it might be one of these where the talk is that this lad has told Napoli he wants to leave this month, and that's where this is all kind of stemmed from. And Liverpool may have looked at him as an option and said, look, we were really interested in him. He fits the bill. He's 23 years old. He's a decent goal return, decent assist return. You know, there's some comments in the chat which I'll read out and we'll try to reply to in a minute.
He's rapid as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's rapid. Watch him playing with the ball. He glides by people. He just glides by them. He's amazing to watch. He's absolutely amazing to watch, and he's just it's.
I like the fact he's got a bit of a maverick element to him. Which
I heard something earlier today that he's more goals with one foot and more assists with another foot. If you get me, so he might. I think he's more assists with his left foot than his right foot, but he's more goals with his right foot than his left foot, which is a bit mad. But he fits when you think of it as a Liverpool signing. He fits the bill, the age profile, the price. Okay, 80 million. You know what? He'll cost you 80 million, but the chance there, if you're moving somebody out either now or in January, now or in the summer, you're probably recouping half of that, if not more. You know, the sort of way. Yeah. So you look at it in that sort of way. But he does fit the bill, and it might be something where Liverpool, like they've done in the past, have said, right, if we really want this player and we feel he's exactly where we want him, and the finances can be worked on or done or achieved, we have to do this 6 months early. And yeah, it looked like we might be top heavy, but it'll all make sense in the long run. You know, the sort of way. Now, that's not me writing off any of the strikers we have, but the argument could be, listen, Chiesa just isn't working for whatever reason, right? Could be down to him, could be down to the manager, it could be down to whatever it might be. He's not working. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to turn him over in the summer, and we're going to have to get our 15 million back on him, or whatever we get back on him, and you bring this guy in, and that's a different option. A few things there.
It could also be that it could be like the Manny situation. Liverpool have got wind that, you know, so maybe someone like a Diaz has said, I've got 2 years on my contract, I'm not going to sign another one. I don't like I want to look to do a move. So maybe Liverpool are going, well, this opportunity's come as well. Get him in now, and we sort Diaz out.
Or it could be a thing where they say, look, we fancy Diaz more down the middle than we do. I'm just spitballing here, but it could be. We've seen Diaz a little bit down the middle. We like the look of him down the middle. We're going to move him out there. We have Gakpo on the left, but we're going to bring this guy in to challenge Gakpo, and that could be the end of Darwin Núñez, or we don't know, but we don't know what the plan is. So if this is a genuine interest from Liverpool, that if they feel they have to do it in January to get ahead of a team this month rather than wait till the summer and risk somebody else taking in this month, there has to be a plan in place somewhere there that we don't know. We can throw any scenario we want. As I always say, you can throw a scenario in here and make it fairly plausible, but at the end of the day, we haven't got a brace about what Liverpool and the outlook is. Quincy doesn't seem happy. He says, he or she, I don't know, says, great, another Georgian we don't fucking need. You are going to need that goalkeeper, by the way, just if you have reference, Marmadashvili, because Kelleher won't be at the club next season.
We've just future-proofed it.
Yeah, you will need him. You absolutely will need him. Stig Blom Anderson. Yeah.
One question that the ones in the chat are saying, let's hope it's not FSG spin, PR spin. Say we don't sign him and it never happens. How is that PR spin?
It's not beneficial whatsoever to the club.
It's not beneficial because people say, we could get promised a war chest, which, by the way, I've never yet seen who promises this war chest. I think the bit I struggle with the whole getting angry with the ownership side is people are more than happy to say, the journalists don't know this, journalists don't know that, don't like this shit, he knows shite. But then when that journalist links you to someone, it's like, oh yeah, you know, FSG again have fucked us over. And you're like, well, can't have it both ways. They either do know or they don't know.
Well, then let's be. If you look at this in a very straightforward way, let me read some of these out, and I'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Stig Blom Anderson says, and I'm just trying to throw
name.
all the different names tonight. I hope I've said that right, Stig. He says, can he play other positions than left or centre? If not, it doesn't make much sense to me. He's good though. You see, this goes back to it can be a little bit hard to make sense of this unless they're being pushed into you need to do this now. Even though you might want to do it in the summer, you know what I mean. It feels like it might be a summer signing that they might have looked at, but it has to be brought forward. All will be revealed. I would say to you on that, Stig, I'd say all will be revealed in about 6 months' time. That's what I would say on it.
We saw for his national team, he plays as a second striker, doesn't he? It's like almost not quite a 10, but
yeah, he just plays off a striker and kind of floats around.
He plays off a striker, so Liverpool could decide.
He can absolutely, like I've seen.
Let's play him as a 10.
From whenever I've seen him, he plays off the left. But other people I've spoken to says, no, look, he can play. You put him anywhere. It's just the style of player he is. You can play him anywhere. And he's plenty of assists and goals off both feet, if you actually look up the stats. Davey T says, lads and lasses, we're nearly there. Don't you not mess up Newcastle versus Liverpool in the final of the League Cup. We'll do our best, mate. We'll do our best. Nice. Bob says, the player is unhappy under Conte, subbed after 70 minutes almost every match. PW says, watched a highlight of him. It was 6 minutes of nutmegs to get started. I can live with that. Yeah, so can I. Luke says, Gav, do you think there's any chance the club are using this to pressurise, put pressure on Diaz to sign a new deal? It could be. It absolutely could be. But, right, I think there's better ways of pressurising. But you see, there's better ways of pressurising a player into signing, and probably doing this, isn't it? Because, look, if, let's say for argument's sake, the club want Luis Diaz to sign a deal, right? And they throw this Kvaratskhelia's name out there, right? If Luis Diaz signs a new deal in 3 or 4 weeks' time, people will go, yay, and then they go, but what about Kvaratskhelia? I don't think they'll do it that way. And to be honest with you, threatening one player or another is a bit, well, if you think he's good enough to come in, they might call you a bluff. If that's what's happening, they might call you a bluff and go, Grand, you go and sign him. I'm gonna get a move away in this club now, and I get good money somewhere else. But Luke, it could absolutely be that, but I think it would be a bit mad to do it that way. Brace Deville says, I'm more inclined to believe Liverpool might be using this rumour to press Diaz into signing the contract since he has torn down the club's current offer. If he has, I didn't know about it. I didn't know Luis Diaz had been offered a contract, and I didn't know he turned down a contract offer.
I think it's all rumour, isn't it? But he's at that stage now, isn't he?
Well, we think that, but we 3 players here that are 6 months left. You do think the 2-year thing is...
Actually, he's got 18 months here.
He's got 18 months, yeah. He's got 18 months. It could be that, but you see, when you knit it all together, you could possibly see this guy come in January, and Luis Diaz might leave the club in June. Now, I wouldn't like Luis Diaz to leave the club. I think he's been in excellent form, but things happen where players just go, no, I want to move on, I want to do something else. That's absolutely fine, and it happens all the time. But again, if Liverpool are looking and saying, look, Diaz isn't going to sign this deal, we feel we can get good money from the summer, but we'll go and get the guy at Napoli in the summer, and now, oh fuck, PSG are trying to rock this boat in January, we might need to go and do that. That's where it could be. Kevin Sullivan says the Harbinger of Doom would have shut it down if there was nothing in it. We don't need to tell you who the name of the Harbinger of Doom is. You can assume that all yourself. But yeah, let me see.
I mean, there's also a third option, which is we weren't looking for a left winger, but it's one of those ones where he's available, and as much as we like to see left wingers we've got, he's better. So just go and upgrade somewhere, and then you're in a position of strength to sell one of them in the summer January for a big fee, whereas people don't know you're not desperate to sell. It could also be that sometimes.
Yeah, Chris Bailey says, I didn't believe it when just the journalists were in for him, saying we were in for him, but the ITKs have backed it up since. So now I do. Fantastic. Paul Gorst, I only know his name because people call him it every day. Okay. Thor says, wait, what? A transfer show? So you're telling me there's a chance? You know how these transfer shows work. There may be other people out there that do transfer shows. Come on, with exclusive news, breaking news, all this sort of stuff. We don't. We just go, oh, that fella's being linked. Let's chat about him. PW says, Alex Ferguson is a dick, but I agree with his philosophy of just buy me all the forwards.
That was his philosophy. It was always like, if in doubt, buy me more goals. You can always sell a forward easily. That was always his mantra, which is, it's not a bad mantra, to be fair, because it's easier to sell a forward than it is to sell anything else.
Look, it's the 10th of January, right? One thing's for certain: if this deal doesn't happen, you're guaranteed another 21 odd days of links to this guy, and everyone will have news, and everyone will have inside knowledge and all this sort of stuff. I'm going to put it out there. I think it'd be a fantastic signing for Liverpool. I know I'm looking at this January and I'm thinking, I think Liverpool should sign a midfielder. I've said it on a few shows. I still think that. And I don't think if you're bringing this forward from the summer because of,
It's just
you know,
yeah,
well,
it shouldn't stop.
if you're bringing it forward from because of competition from somewhere else, it shouldn't stop what you realistically need. And let's be
Shouldn't
honest,
really
all the
because
evidence is there for,
you budgeted to bring him in, then haven't you?
yeah. So
If
and
he's a summer target,
yeah, and for me, it's a midfielder in this January. I don't know if that'll happen, and I don't. You see, my worry here is that you do sign Kvaratskhelia, you do sign him, right? And we're all excited, and then we get to the end of it and we go, brilliant signing, but and nothing against the guy, but did we address what we needed to address? And I still think we do need to address something there.
Stig's got it right. Just go 4-0-6.
Yeah, and just throw them all up. And Slot's done it. When he went down to 10 men a couple of weeks ago, he went, what was it, 3-2-4 or something. I think he done some mad sort of system.
He just played Gravenberch on his own in the midfield. Like, you're on your own. There's 3 at the back. The rest of you bomb on. Have fun.
Corone James says, if we get Osman, Kvaratskhelia and Ederson, we are set for the next 5 years. JJ asking an awful lot there now. I'm going to tell you now, that's not going to happen. Let me see. I'm just going to read some more out. Chiesa and Nunez for Kvaratskhelia and Jonathan David. I wouldn't say no to that, says next level.
He's on a free in the summer, isn't he, Jonathan David?
Yeah, there's so many of them. There's so many of them players on a free. It's unbelievable. Stig says, do a Mane and switch him to the right. Mane came in as right and ended up left. He actually comes in as a right winger and ends up left.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only
Jerry says, right. Jerry says, lads, I really enjoy our chats and do value your opinions, but this is just the usual PR. Kvaratskhelia is the best player in the world we could potentially sign. You see, Jerry, I agree. I think Kvaratskhelia is one of the best players in the world we could potentially sign, right? But this is not PR. Genuinely, it's not PR. Because if we don't sign this player, who's potentially one of the best, right? If you don't sign that player, how is that PR? Like, genuinely, how is it PR? It's not. It's fucking, it's like, it's madness. It's madness. Like, and people have said, like, for me, the thing is here is that there's a journalist really, really close to Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards saying this. We know this journalist is really close to them, right? Really close to them. And he's saying it. He's the one shouting it the most, okay? And the one that's most reliable, for me, the most reliable, and the one that just puts it out when he knows it's like rock solid news, is also saying it, okay? And for me, that's a briefing, okay? And I think it'd be mad to put a briefing out, right? I think it would be mad to put a briefing out and then not follow up on this, because it's awful PR. It's awful. If the two journalists, one really close to the two major players in the club and one that's absolutely rock solid in his news, are saying these things and putting it out there and nothing happens, it's appalling PR. So I would question the football club's PR department if this is the way they're going, because it does them no favours. Like honestly, if Liverpool put out, we're not interested in anybody in January, we're not signing nobody, and then pulled off Kvaratskhelia, that's incredible PR. It's incredible PR, because what you've done is you've said, look, we're not doing anything. You've kept everything hush and you've done it, and people go, wow, that's how you do business. It's simply awful, awful, awful PR if this is also a briefing from the club.
But also someone like an Ornstein, journalists don't like all journalists get used at some point, but if you get stung for something big like that, you're not going to do favours later or re-release that data, because you're like, well, whoever my sources were led me down the garden path I don't want. But also, play devil's advocate, it's been well known now Liverpool have been looking for some top players and haven't missed out. Bellingham they missed out on, Tchouameni, Zubimendi. And I'll be honest, Zubimendi, you could argue they released the information too early. Caicedo, the big bid, and it backfired. We didn't get him. If you think all that's PR, then I'll be honest, whoever works at the club and thinks that's good PR needs to
It's
sack him
awful.
because all you basically do is make yourself look stupid. Because at the moment, the reason I'm sceptical is the last couple of big deals we've tried to do, Bellingham, Tchouaméni, Zubimendi, they've all fell at the last hurdle, and we've looked short, and also the club looked a bit soft.
Yeah.
So,
But like Jerry says there, it's his ultimate signing if he had a blank checkbook. But I've been born too often on these, and I 100% get that, right? But like, I think in certain circumstances, the club have been soft. I agree with you, and I think a bit naive in what they've done. But I
yeah,
can't. Against that, I can't knock them for what they've tried to do. Do you know what I mean? Like the Caicedo one, they aren't making that bid unless somebody tells them make the bid, but they get used in the end, right? And the Zubimendi one, we know we've gone through that so many times. You can't knock them from going for these players, but you can say, look, come on.
How many big deals do you want to get wrong?
Yeah, how many big deals do people want? Do you want to be strung along on? Because they're strung along on Caicedo. I don't think they're strung along on Zubimendi. I think he actually just has a very last minute change of heart, and they probably went in with loads of assurances and stuff like that. But it's one of those.
Jack Bowman made a good point in the chat. He's saying you could play the new fella as a 10 and then drop Szoboszlai back into the midfield as an option. He's played there before and has always looked quite good. That's, in a way, that's one way of utilising squad. Because then you're looking at, well, who could play centre mid for us? You're going McAllister, Gravenberch, Jones, Szoboszlai. But there's 4 lads that he really trusts to play 2 positions. So it's 4 lads for 2 positions. And you say him and Josser and Elliott fight it out for a 10 role.
Yeah.
So is it a way of rejigging your squad if you can't find the midfielder that you want?
Yeah, but it's like I get you can play him there and you can do this and you can do that, right? But at the end of the day, if you're bringing in this left winger and you need a midfielder, I don't think you can bring in another midfielder and go, or another left winger and go, well, that sorts as a midfield because we just go loads of players up front. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't, like, it genuinely doesn't work. And it may work in some games where you go, listen, we just play 2 in midfield and this fella can play in front of them because we fucking 90% of the football. But there's too many teams out there now that'll happily like sit in. Like, we're going to Nottingham Forest next Tuesday night and they're going to turn up at the City Ground like the away team. They're going to sit in there and they're going to say, go on, see if you can break us down. And we're going to use, what's the 2 wingers, Alanga and Hudson-Odoi with Morgan, what's his name?
Gibbs White.
Sorry, all the names have gone out of my head. And Wood, and we're just going to break with them 4. That's what we're going to do. We've no other interest in doing it. And what you need in there,
it's effective.
It's massively effective. But unless Liverpool can go out and go, right, we're happy what you're going to try to do there, but we're not going to let you do it. We're happy what you're going to attempt to do, but we're not going to let you do it. We're actually going to take this ball. You're not getting it fucking back. The only way you're getting it back is if it goes out of play. Right? i.e. throws, goal kicks. That's the only way you're getting it back. You are not getting it back in play against us. Because now you're going to have to try pass it out from the back, or you're going to try hit it long, and we're going to contest everything. And in those games, you're going to need, realistically, you can put as many as you want up front, but if they manage to do what they're trying to do, that's where you need midfield, a proper midfield. And I'm not saying we don't have a proper midfield, but for me, we need more options where we can go, listen, we're going to hammer into this for 60 minutes, and I'm going to bring this guy off, and we're going to bring this guy on, and in 10 minutes there, we're going to bring this guy on for this guy, and we're just going to keep changing that midfield to make it stronger and stronger as the game goes on. We're never going to drop our level, and you're going to be hurt for that. And I don't think any signing anywhere else on the pitch would justify not doing a midfielder for me, because we know he wanted a midfielder, and it doesn't matter how well they performed.
He still wants one.
He still wants one, and not even as well as they performed. The lack of what he's using outside of these 4 at any time, in the 4 being Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Jones. The lack of use of anyone else outside that 4 absolutely screams that he wants a midfielder. without a shadow of a doubt for me. So sign this guy because you wanted to do it in the summer, and it has to come forward. And the summer plan is one forward leaves. That'll still happen. You just end up with this guy as a bonus for 6 months in this campaign. That's okay, but still address what needs to be addressed, in my opinion. That takes me on to one that's come out in the last couple of days, and I knew it was going to come out, and I knew it was going to start, and it's Harvey Elliott. Because when we were doing a show the other night, while I was talking about Harvey Elliott and the lack of minutes he's had and the lack of trust that's perceived to be in him from Arne Slot for some mad reason, even though he's probably the standout player on the pre-season tour, his minutes have been very limited despite the fact he's been fit for quite a few weeks now. And all of a sudden now it's, I think it was Borussia Dortmund, and there was another Premier League side that's gone out of my head, that are monitoring the situation.
Yeah, situation.
Who was it?
I can't remember the Premier League side was now.
Yeah, but potentially monitoring Harvey Elliott's situation at Liverpool.
Brighton,
sorry, you're right, correct. Potentially monitoring the situation of Harvey Elliott at Liverpool due to his lack of minutes this season. This is not a surprise to see the stories coming out. No matter, I don't know how true they are or not, but it's not a surprise for me, Chris, with the lack of minutes. And again, it goes back to his lack of trust outside of those four midfielders.
I don't think he sees Harvey Elliott as a midfielder. I think he sees more as the 10 option. The problem he's got is, since he's been injured, in general, Szoboszlai have done better there, and up until the last 2 games, Jones has generally done okay. I don't think Liverpool will be looking to sell him. One, because I think he's a good player. Two, with Kelleher leaving next year, we need another homegrown option, and he is the homegrown option, unless you're going to buy another English or homegrown lad, and I just don't think Liverpool are looking to do that. So I just think it's a little bit of 2 plus 2. The Sky maybe took a bit of a flower in it. Can I believe people are monitoring him? Yeah, because he's a good player and he'll do well at other clubs. But I would be surprised if we got rid of him, because I still think he's a good player. And I still think I'd like to think second half of the season we see a bit more use of him. You know, I mean, listen, for his perspective, the pressure's on, and what we don't know, and you'll never know if we haven't seen this, you don't know what he's doing in training. There could be stuff he's doing in training that isn't what the manager wants for his system and the way he plays, and it's taking him longer to adapt to how he wants him to play. You know, that's not saying he's lazy or he's a disruptor. It's just some players take longer to adapt to a new manager, new style than others. And it could just be where Slot wants him to play, it's taking him longer to adapt to it. And because Liverpool are winning and doing well, there's not as much pressure for him to throw in. The pressure's mounted a little bit because of the last 2 games where Liverpool have been pretty inept, and he's probably not got as many minutes and probably should have been given a bit more of a throw in. Like, look, people know I quite like Jones, but I think he's been poor the last 2 games, and I would have given Elliott a few more minutes than he's been given, because you may as well, because a couple of lads are out of form.
Yeah, it's but you're gonna have to see more of him. There's no you might. You have to. In the amount of games we have, League, FA Cup potentially, League Cup is closing up, okay, Champions League, we cannot run on these 4 midfielders for the rest of the season. We simply can't. And it's either they believe they can, which is mad. They don't believe that, and they go and sign somebody in January to help them out, or they start trusting the likes of the 2 players we're thinking of. We know who they are, Elliott and Endo.
Yeah,
and like he's not. That's a League Cup game the other night, right? Now you'll probably see a load of them against Accrington at the week tomorrow. Sorry, you probably will see a load of them, right? But that's only because we're playing some team from fucking League 2, or I think they're in League 2. Accrington, might be League 1. I'm not too sure, but that's only because we're playing them. He's never putting them into the second leg against Spurs. He's just not. They'll struggle to get a game in these 2 Champions League games where we are through. We're in the top 8. No one can touch us. They'll struggle to get minutes in that. You know what I mean? They'll struggle to get minutes against Forest, away to Brentford, home to Ipswich, away to Bournemouth, away to Everton, away to City. These are all these games that are coming up. Them 2 will struggle to get minutes in this side, unless it's the absolute last resort or a game we're playing where the team are miles below our level. And that the evidence is there to show it. The evidence is there to show it. He could have went out the other night and said, I'm going to give me midfield a rest here, okay? I'm going to give them a rest here. I'm going to play Elliott and Endo in midfield with Jones. I'm going to give McAllister and Gravenberch a rest, and Szoboszlai is ill. And what I'll do is I'll reassess going into the weekend, and what I'll try to do is, out of those 6 players that I have in there, I'm going to actually try play 3 of them for 60 and 3 of them for 30. I'm going to make 2 subs up front. I'm going to keep me back 4 as it was, whatever way we can do it, and just go from there. But he didn't. He turned it down, flat turned it down in that game. And he just, unless he's some master plan where Harvey Elliott bombs onto the scene here in mid-January until the end of the season, and he's like, like a new signing or rejuvenated Harvey Elliott, the evidence is there that he doesn't trust them players. And I can absolutely understand people, looking, or people around other clubs or journalists or whatever, or agents dropping that name out there, because it makes sense. Where a team could come along and go, Harvey, listen, I don't think your manager trusts you anymore. We want you. We'll pay the fee. We want to put you in our team. Brighton would love to have him in his team. He'd suit Brighton down to the ground. Borussia Dortmund, we know how Borussia Dortmund roll. They bring these players in. They have them for 18 months, 2 years max, and they make a huge profit and they move them on. It's a. For me, it just compounds the need for the midfielder that he tried to get in the summer.
Yeah. I mean, the midfielder he tried to get in the summer wouldn't have had much of an impact on where Harvey Elliott plays, because I don't think the midfielder he wanted is a deeper line midfielder, and as we mentioned, that isn't Harvey Elliott's game. His game is more where Szoboszlai play, or covering the right, or as an 8. It's not a deep role. Just at the moment, he seems to prefer Jones and Szoboszlai ahead of him. I do wonder, because he got his broken foot at the wrong time, which I do think with a new manager kind of kills you a little bit, because you don't get a chance to prove yourself and all people take his spot. I also think it was a little bit of a perfect storm, because it was Man United, so you've got to go who you think is your strongest level, and because it's a semi-final away to a tough Premier League side, and like you said, it's a League 2 side on a Saturday. I think it's almost like Slot's gone, bank these 2 games to go as strong as I can. Granted, we didn't get the results and performance we wanted, but that was the plan. And then I give everyone an opportunity against Axton Stanley, and then you reassess again when you're going to give them an opportunity again.
Well, I'm not saying, look, if he wants to go with what he perceives as the strongest 11, which he didn't against Spurs. He went with he got minutes into defenders' legs rather than midfielders' legs. That's what he done, right? But I'm okay with that, because look, people are saying Gravenberch looked tired tonight. Maybe he did, but at the end of the day, Gravenberch played on Wednesday night, and now he won't play till next Tuesday night, realistically, hopefully. So he's getting 6 days off. That's a huge rest for a Premier League football. That's a huge rest, right? 6 days off is a huge rest, right? And remember, he probably gives him the 6 days off. When we're just taking Gravenberch as an example, he probably gives him the 6 days off. He plays against Forest. He plays against Brentford 4 days later, right? And then I think there's a Champions League game in there, so he might do something around them. I've no problem with the resting or the amount of minutes he's trying to give Gravenberch, and it makes sense in this little block where he gets 6 days off if you take him out of Accrington Stanley. But the problem is, we don't have them breaks after that then. We simply don't have them. And if we don't have them, my thing is that you will not see Elliott and Endo in this team. You just won't. And we'll just keep going with the same players. And look, I love the 3 players. I like them all, right? I love every player. I like every player for differing reasons, right? But you can't do it. You're looking at about 30 games left in the season, I think.
Yeah.
Around that. Well, it could be a little less, right? And probably is a bit less, right? But you cannot keep doing it. And I think that's what he's going to try to do. And I don't think it works. I don't think it will work. If he brings in another midfielder now, as much as you love Elliott and as much as you love fucking Endo or whatever, if he's going to look to improve and he's going to be ruthless. It might be just one of those where he just goes, I have to bring a guy in here. I don't really trust that guy, so I'm going to have to pull away from that. Even if you turn around and it's not Elliott and you say, right, I'm going to bring a guy in and then I'm going to have to let Endo go. But this guy I can trust to put in the team. It helps everybody. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It helps everybody. It's not about bringing in a body. Bringing in a body, you can bring anyone in, but that's just another body to say, oh, we have that player. It doesn't work. You know what I mean?
I also get the impression with a slot, if you brought a body in, they just get the endo treatments anyway and just don't get used.
That's what I feel as well. That's what I feel as well. But we'll see by the end of January that, listen, they clearly know more about football than we do. They clearly know more about the situation than we do. They clearly have all the stats way more than we do. But history tells you it's very difficult to go through a season with 4 midfielders. In a 3-man midfield, just have 4 and keep trying to rotate one out all the time. And that's not allowing for illnesses, injuries, suspensions, which we've had an illness. We've been very close to suspensions. We got away with it by the scruff of our... the skin of our teeth there, to be honest with you. McAllister ended up suspended, didn't he, for one, and we were very close to a Gravenberch one as well. So it's just, I'm happy with the links to the lad off Napoli. I'm nonplussed. I knew it was going to happen about the Elliott stuff because I don't know what value Elliott is bringing to this squad, and that's not a go at him. I just don't know what value he's bringing to the squad at the minute. That's where I am on it. Other than that, there's not an awful lot going on.
David Moyes is back.
Oh, Dave Moyes. I can't get over
He's almost back.
And can I ask you, is there any talk on the length of his deal at Everton?
No, it just says he's back, but what I could kind of see from the reports that came out, I don't know who's briefing Joyce. I think the brief came from the Everton owner side than the previous manager, because they were saying like he told the club he took it as far as he could, and he was just going to almost like coast into the season, and then got really upset that he didn't get a full payout. I'm like, you've kind of just almost said
it's a done. Barry Demney and Stig say it's a 2.5 year deal for David Moyes.
There must be it wouldn't surprise. There must be some sort of like break clause in it, which is like do 18 months, and if we get rid of you after 18 months, you'll get X amount. Just almost like steady the ship, get them comfortable mid-table, and then they'll bring in whoever they wanted to bring in after that.
But I'm astounded at that appointment, because David Moyes, not 6 weeks ago, said that at his age he's not interested. He doesn't see himself going back in to a struggling Premier League side. He feels like it'll be too much for him. I'm astounded at that. Like, if you told me Dave Moyes was going in and said, look, Dave Moyes has agreed to come in for 6 months to steady the ship, he loves Everton, blah, 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 give it all that big one. He comes in for 6 months and he keeps them up, fair enough. But what happens now if he's not the future of Everton, David Moyes? What happens now if he comes in and they go, yeah, and we get you a couple of players in January now, and it goes horribly fucking wrong? It just seems... Yeah, maybe it's a 2.5 year deal, and like you said, it's like, listen, if we go down,
that's giving him his own security. If you know what I mean, it's like, yeah, if you want to keep for a year and a half, I want a 2.5 year deal with a guaranteed X amount if you bid me off.
James is saying 2029 for a contract. He's not got a 4.5 year deal or a 4.5 year deal. He's not. Maybe he has.
Who knows?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, if the rumours are true that they were looking at Potter and they were just too slow to react, Potter to Moyes is quite a shift in style. That's the bit that also makes me a bit mad. But also, the Potter link didn't make much sense, because I thought, in the sense of, he's a good manager, but the players Everton have got and the way they play, that doesn't suit Potter unless they're going to do a massive overhaul. And I don't know if they've got the wiggle room to do that.
And maybe, look... Moyes has been in this position before. He's kept teams up. He does go down with Sunderland, doesn't he? Was it Sunderland he went down with?
Yeah, Sunderland, yeah. I mean, that whole club was a bit of a basket case, to be fair.
Yeah, like. Jerry says, I think Moyes is the best he could have possibly got. Worry about the future in 18 months.
Kev gave a good suggestion in our chat, which was Lee Carsley.
Lee Carsley was in the betting, and
he's highly thought of, and he's ex-Everton as well, so he's got the connection to the club.
Yeah, I
and
absolutely
he's a
get that.
handful for them.
But the thing for me is that I don't know why these Everton I don't know why these Everton owners are looking anywhere beyond 6 months down the road. Like, and I know you don't want to do a Sam Allardyce thing, but you bring Sam Allardyce, not Sam Allardyce, but you bring in a manager where you go, right, listen, just keep us up, and we'll discuss it in the summer. But if they're tying themselves to 2.5 years of Moyes, um, it's a bit, it feels a bit romantic,
Yeah,
and
James Mill says
it very rarely
Everton
works.
brought back. Do you know when Everton brought back Howard Kendall? That didn't work.
Yeah, but look, it may be a master stroke. They bring him in and say, right, look, we are struggling, but we
The one
promise
thing
you.
Moyes does
Yeah,
it. The one thing Moyes does, he makes them hard to beat. But to be honest, they were becoming under Dyche hard to beat. They just couldn't score.
yeah.
They and looks like that. I mean, it looks like Brozier might have done his calf or his hamstring. So he's the most unlucky man
Yeah,
going.
no,
Brozier.
I to be honest with you, I wouldn't say it was David Moyes convincing them. I'd say it was them convincing David Moyes, and I'd say it was a
Might be
case of,
right.
oh, it's 100%. It's 100 because he's sitting there. How long is he out of a job?
Just this season.
Was
So
it this
6
summer?
months.
So he's out of work 6 months, and quite a few jobs have come up. Like the Leicester job come up, right? The Wolves job come up, right? Um, and obviously there's more if you want to go like around the continent and stuff like that. But I'd
West
say
Ham
it'd
job
be
came up.
what?
The only thing would have been funny if he went back to West Ham. That
Yeah,
would have been
yeah, no, yeah. He
that would
could
have
have
been
done.
quite funny.
But I think it would have been more West or Everton convincing Dave Moyes by saying, listen, you probably don't want to come back into a situation like this at any club, but we're new owners. We're going to back you in January with a few players. We keep us up and we'll back you again in the summer and, things like that. And maybe he's gone, okay, fair enough. And has he anything to lose?
No, he
No.
has got an affinity. Also, as much as we said to Mickey out, so he has got a big affinity with that club. So maybe that's also one of the jobs. He's like he could never turn down because he'd like to go back.
Yeah. Jerry says that Mark Lawrenson said on Irish radio today that himself and David Moyes are good mates. Apparently, he was reluctant to go back, but he couldn't say no to Everton. Fair enough. That's nice of him. But it's a bit of a strange one, and I think it's a bit of a risk because I think if a manager that doesn't have an affiliation to Everton comes in and tries and they go, you have to give them time. They've all seen David Moyes before, and if it doesn't go well quickly, it's going to be like, oh, what did we do this for? Blah, 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 blah. And that's how he usually rolls. But
He's probably got a very slow grace period, I would say, honeymoon period.
yes, I would say it'd be very short. Very, very short, especially on a 2.5 year deal. If they'd have said 6 months, you just go, right, just stick with him for 6 months. But yeah.
Even if 6 months and they were playing shite, I think people just go, yeah, but he's gone in the summer. As long as we stay up, who cares?
Yeah. And now it's
start
like,
again.
yeah. And I don't know. I can't remember the style of football. I remember the style of football at Everton, but I can't remember the style of football at West Ham. I genuinely have never watched it.
I know his record against the big sides was pretty shite.
Yeah, maybe so.
He did quite well. To be fair to him, he did well with West Ham in Europe, though. Once he got them into Europa Conference, Europa League, he always got them to progress to quarterfinals. Obviously, he won the Europa Conference, which is their first European trophy in 40 years. His first major honour. So he does. In terms of like Europe, he knew what to do.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, it's because obviously he didn't have much European pedigree before then. But he did pretty well for
well,
West Ham.
look, it'll all be announced obviously tomorrow or whatever, and see where they go from there. Quickly before we go, a couple of people out there on the internet are declaring that Virgil van Dijk will sign his Liverpool deal in the coming days. Is that just people getting bored and showing it out there, or have you seen anybody that's reliable saying it?
I haven't seen him reliable saying it. It's the usual ITK nonsense, but it's the same ITKs that were all hinted it was going to be Salah and Van Dijk on Christmas Day.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that one?
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. The latest one is Trent signed a new deal now. That's the latest rumour. Some people are throwing out there. This time of year.
Yeah.
I can believe it's probably one. You'd like to believe one of them's close, but there's no one. There's no one shouting saying it's done.
Yeah.
Paul Giovanni saying Dutch Telegraph reporting it.
Okay. Well, look, we'll have to wait and see. But as
it'd be nice if he does.
It'd be lovely if he does. It'd be lovely if all three did. But
all three and 2 new signings. What more can you want?
Stig says we might as well. We haven't talked Accrington Stanley at all. Team prediction for tomorrow. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, there's rumour Nello's going to get a start, isn't there?
At centre back. Kelleher in goal.
Yeah,
Bradley right back.
yeah,
Simicast left back.
yeah.
Kanate and Kwanzaa.
No,
Kwanzaa will be fine.
I think it'd be Kwanzaa and Endo.
Do you?
I think Canati sits on the bench.
He's not fit. Needs to play.
Well, I mean, if he plays, cool, but it wouldn't surprise me.
I'm going Kanate Kwanzaa.
Okay.
I'm going Endo Elliott.
Soboslai.
Yeah, Sob's live. He's over the sickness.
Well, he
And
trained with the 21s yesterday, apparently.
Yeah, and I'm going Chiesa, Nunes, Diaz.
I'll say Chiesa, Nunes are nailed on. I toss between. Do you give Jota more minutes? Because to be honest, he just doesn't look fit. Jota doesn't look fit.
Well then, why don't you do Nunes down the left with Jota up front?
Yeah.
Okay.
The other one who apparently, and I think there has been reports from like Pierce is, Trainione is going to be in the squad, and that young 16-year-old we signed from Chelsea.
Rio. Yeah, I know you're talking. I can never remember.
It's sort of hinted he might get a big part to play. So you never know. You might see one of them start. Which,
yeah.
I'll be honest. To be honest, FA Cup third round. It is always good to see at least one kid get thrown in who's quite. And to be honest, there's a lot of hype around him. So maybe this is partly how they got him to sign for Liverpool, which was in some of these early round cup games, even at 16, will give you an opportunity.
Okay.
So
it should be interesting to watch anyway. The game's on at 12:30 tomorrow, isn't it? We will be on live 12:15. Of course, yeah, they moved us 15 minutes earlier. Why not? We will be on at about 2:30 with reaction to that. I don't know who's on. I really don't.
I think I will, if that makes you feel better.
It'll be yourself, I'd say Kev, and I'll have to see Ashley and Matt because they're all hours of the morning.
It's probably is it 3 in the morning now? Should we just say that's a whang matter?
Yeah, 4 o'clock in the morning or something. Yeah, so there we go. There's our team predictions of sorts. And yeah, don't forget, Liverpool play at 12:15 tomorrow against Accrington Stanley.
I'll go 3-1.
I'd like to see Accrington Stanley score.
I'd
like to see them score at the Anfield Road and in front of their own fans.
And I think it'll be the lad who used to play for Liverpool, who's the captain, whose name escapes. I've seen him get interviewed before.
Okay.
He's whoever there's captain. He was in Liverpool's youth team. I think he was actually captain of the youth team when Gerrard was there.
Okay.
And I'll go Nunes, Jota, Kwanzaa for goals.
Yeah, 3 or 4-1 maybe. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, we're going to go. Don't forget, in about 10 minutes' time, I'll be back with Dylan. Football Room 101. Anything from football, past, present, even the future, that you want thrown in the bin, you must convince me and Dylan that it goes into Football Room 101. Be warned, the show will end up on fire. The show will end up.
You can't say Michael Edwards because it's too easy for a.
Well, you can if you want. You can say whatever you like, but be warned, it will start off as that. It will end up as everyone talking about funny moments on TV or random shit. It always does, but that's what it's about. It's Friday night. It's a bit of fun. That has been it. Thanks to Chris. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Like, subscribe, comment, become a member, do all that messing. And like I said, we'll be back with you in less than 10 minutes. Over now.